Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of the Opening Bell, a bonus pod and part of our prospect series, welcoming back Scotland's Reese Lynch, who's had a good start to 2026. It's a few months on since we last caught up. We spoke to you at the start of the year where you were looking ahead to what the boxing game was going to bring you. How are you feeling about how things have gone?
Yeah, good, good. It's been an active year so far. Obviously, I've been out twice this year already, so just kind of building momentum and keeping everything moving forward. It's been good.
Let's talk about since last time we spoke to you, because you fought twice since then. We
Yeah.
spoke at the start of the year when you were kind of building up and thinking about that. You fought Dan Booth in late February. That was a kind of test in a couple of ways, wasn't it? You fought a much bigger guy who was much, much heavier and also had to deal with a headbutt in there as well. What was that kind of headbutt head clash experience like?
It was actually not too bad because when at the Commonwealth Games in the final, I got a cut above my right eye, same side above my right eye. It was kind of just in that kind of like line there. So I kind of knew what to expect from it. I didn't get as much of a fright this time as what I kind of did at the games. My brother always took the mick out of me as well because he said that I shit myself. He says when I when I got cut at the games. So as soon as I got cut in that fight, that's all I could think about was not looking like I shit myself.
Yeah. It just goes to show you how you do need these experiences
Yeah.
in whatever way. So did you feel a bit more composed then in that moment?
Yeah. I feel like it composed me a bit more because I wasn't being as reckless. Kind of after the cut because I was more like thinking about obviously not making it worse because it was a really bad cut. And that if it did get any worse, it probably could have got stopped. I was lucky that it wasn't above my eye because if it was above my eye, it would have been stopped from when the cut happened, basically. But so I was just kind of managing it and then picking my shots right. And obviously, I landed a good few shots and hurt him a few times, but he was a tough guy. Just couldn't get him out there.
Yeah, your big nasty gash on your right cheek. Did that need stitches and treatment after?
Yeah. I got 4 stitches. So I got 4 stitches in it. I probably could have took more, to be honest. But it was the doctor or the guy, well, doctor had done the stitching, done a pretty good job of it. Obviously, there's a little bit here that's a bit wider. I think that was just kind of where it was a bit more jaggy. But yeah, I got 4 stitches, and then I had Lee Rickards. He was giving me stuff for to help it repair, and I had all sorts of creams, all sorts of stuff that I was just putting on it daily, all the way up until this next fight, just to make sure that it was as healed as possible.
Ah, okay, and as little scar tissue as possible as well.
Yeah.
How did that impact you in terms of training and sparring after then?
So I didn't really spar for this fight. I got 3 spars just in camp. So with one of the boys with Seam that's in the gym, I done three spars with him. And then that was it. Good to go. I had a good spar in
Wow.
my last spar as well, so I was meant to do another one, a fourth one, but Ped was like, "We'll just stop it there, and you're looking good, so we'll just keep it at
How,
that."
how many rounds would that have been each spar?
6 rounds each spar, so
Right.
wasn't too taxing. I've got one of them new head guards now, the hit and move ones with it's actually got the nose bar anyway, so that I got that when I went down to spar Pierce O'Leary. So that was pretty helpful as well, and the fact that it was just covering my whole face. Like even if, like say, I did get knocked with an elbow or that, it was that would probably take most of the brunt of the force anyway. So handy.
And how did yeah? I remember you spoke in the last time at the start of the year. You spoke to us about that new head guard and how it was taking a bit of getting used to, but it was helping you in terms of protection. How did maybe the lighter sparring build up to this fight? How did that feel? How did that affect you? Because you did a lot of rounds, didn't you, previously with Pierce O'Leary, as you told us. So how did that feel? Did you feel rusty or did you feel a bit more refreshed?
Probably refreshed, to be fair. Obviously I had so when I got into sparring, my first spar was good, and then I had a pretty bad spar on the next spar. So my second spar was pretty bad. I was kind of flat, kind of tired as well. But that was probably from outside factors like not getting very good sleep and stuff like that. And then the last spar I had, I felt class. I felt amazing. So that's why Pet kind of just cut it there. He was like, "We don't need to do it anymore. Like you're looking good. You're feeling sharp. So we'll just leave it at that."
And has that given you and Peter Ped, your brother, has that given you sort of food for thought in terms of how you might approach sparring going forward?
Yeah, probably because you don't really need to be doing loads of rounds. Like you're just using it to work on stuff and kind of get your like footing before you go into a fight. So obviously, just stuff that you need to work on, you do it, and then if once you're there and you're ready, you don't need to spar anymore. Like you could probably stop sparring 2 weeks out if you needed to, as long as you're feeling good then when you spar.
I
And then
think that's
it's
really interesting because you and I, we sort of hinted at it. We spoke around it, didn't we, before
yeah,
about really about boxer health, boxer career longevity, but also life after boxing and not putting too many miles on the clock. And
yeah,
I think this is something that a lot of boxers and trainers need to be thinking about in the modern day because there are I think we getting news regarding Frank Bruno just the other day, and maybe not in the best of condition. You
yeah.
can't help but feel Derek Chisora has had a really long, hard career. So I think it is important that you are thinking about this and to get a little bit of experience like this, albeit not by design. I
Yeah,
think that can only be a good thing for you both.
yeah, definitely. I mean, you don't need to be doing all this extra. Obviously, the sparring's got its place. Like you need to be sparring, but you don't need to be overdoing it. Like there's a lot of gyms that spar like 3-4 times a week, and you don't like. There's no need for it really. It's just there to work what you to do what you've been working on in the gym and like put stuff. Maybe try things that you're wanting to try in the fight or whatever. But you don't need to be doing. You don't need to be going hell for leather and four days a week sparring and just taking damage for no reason. You take enough damage in the fights. You don't need to be doing it outside as well.
Exactly right. It's all miles on the clock, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
really refreshing to hear. But the last time we spoke to you, of course, at the early part of the year, you'd done I think you'd done about 26 rounds or something like that with Pierce O'Leary. What was it like to see him then go and perform like he did over in Dublin?
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see, like, especially sparring with someone at that level, and then seeing him go and actually accomplish what he was wanting to do. Um, Especially just seeing him in the ring, he was sharp and he was fit, but kind of being on the other end of that, he's how heavy hitting he is and stuff like that. You can kind of see him put it into play in the ring. It's just I'm happy for him as well. I'm made up for him.
Yeah, good. Is that a sort of experience, work prep that you're going to revisit further down the road?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'd love to get more rounds with Pierce as well because he's obviously at that level. So
Mm.
if you can get down there and use them rounds when you can, that's the kind of sparring that you need to be getting to progress yourself.
Yeah, absolutely right. So that was sort of early part of the year. You had Dan Booth in late February on that Ursu Cooper card up in Derby. What was the experience like? Because he was like he was beyond super welter, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
he was heavy, thick set. How did that feel fighting a much bigger, heavier guy?
Um, Hard, like kind of like he was tough and strong. So you felt like I probably rushed my work a bit too much as well. But it was like you couldn't really like when you were breaking him. I fought a few times. I had him hurt, but it was in the last 10 seconds, and I just couldn't finish him. Like I just had him hurt too late. But I reckon like if I had just boxed him like I did that fight there, I could have probably got him out there. But obviously I was trying too hard to get that kind of try and get that stoppage.
So chip away, stick to the basics. Was that one of the big lessons you learned out of that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely using the feints and the using more feints and like setting up shots rather than just try to look for these big shots. And that's kind of what we went into this fight with in the mindset of just box. I wasn't even planning on getting him out of there this time. It was just if the shot comes, it comes. But just look good doing it.
Yeah, that was last time up in the last few weeks up at the Hydro on the Nathaniel Collins Laurenti 2 bill up in Glasgow. What was really interesting about that against Matt King is and I think for a boxer, it's not always easy to have self-awareness in the ring about what to do at any specific given time. And I think knowing when your opponent's hurt, when you need to step up, when you need to go through the gears. That's quite a difficult thing, I think, for any young boxer to cop onto. But it
Yeah,
did look like you did that with Matt King, sort of just towards the end of the second round. there was a little increase in pace, and I think you made him an impression, and then you were able to carry that on to the third round. Were you aware of that at the time?
Yeah, I knew I was kind of getting to him, especially when I cut him. Because if I cut him, I knew I had cut him with my backhand. I caught him with a shot, and I knew it was a cut. I knew it was a punch that caused the cut. So it was then, obviously, I could see him. I could see my kind of shots starting to get to him. It was basically I broke him down this time rather than just try to go all out for the start and then just wasting everything. Like I actually slowed it down and picked my shots, and then when the time came, I picked the tempo up a bit, and then the stoppage came. A
Yeah.
lot of it came for when you watch Moses Atalma. Really, he's perfect at it. He does it a lot, so he's good to watch for that kind of stuff, breaking people down and then taking them out.
Well, it's interesting you mention him, because one of the things that really struck me was that, and it's something we've seen from Atoma in his last couple of fights in particular, and it's suitable for you because you're a mobile southpaw as well. But that step back, it's only a little bit. It's a little bit step back, and then the counter right hook as you're
Yeah.
stepping back. That's an Atoma move. Is that something you've kind of picked up from him?
We've kind of drilled that a lot in the gym from a while ago, because Terence Crawford was really good at it as well. He used to step back with the right hook, and he caught Errol Spence a lot with it when they both boxed. So we've always kind of worked on that, but it's kind of bringing it back. Like I was able to actually land these shots and pull them off because I was taking my time rather than try to rush it, and I was looking for like the counter shots rather than just try to bombard my opponent with stupid punches and try and take him out of there. So I think it was just like I gave myself that space in that time to actually land shots that I used to throw on on punches and fights and on the pads.
And I think the interesting thing about the delivery of that shot is you can, a bit like Golovkin used to do, he'd slightly manufacture the angle
Yeah,
of attack. You can kind of do that with that counter right hook, can you?
yeah, especially when someone's coming in, you can take your shoulder off the line and kind of dip with it more into it and angle it a bit more, bring it down on top of the head, and that's kind of like the shots that you find it. So when I had him kind of hurt, or when I had him backed up on the ropes and he wasn't really throwing much back, I was able to then like sit in a wee bit and let the shots come a bit more aggressively as such.
Yeah, you can really. There's loads of ways to throw that, isn't it? You can
Yeah.
chop down in it. You can really whip it in with a bit of pace. So that was really interesting as well. Physically, do you feel different now in this sort of second year compared to last year?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say I feel a lot stronger. Obviously, me and Lee Rickards and my S&C coach Grant, we've been working on obviously bulking. So even for that fight there, because we knew I was going to be 146 rather than coming down to like 142, I was able to sort of bulk while in camp. So at the start of it, because we knew I wasn't doing loads of sparring or anything that was, well, obviously I had the hard sessions in the gym, but I wasn't sparring, so I didn't need to be like ready for the sparring. I didn't need to be like fresh for sparring. We were able to do a lot of strength training, so like actual muscle building for like the first. I had about a 7 week camp, so say the first 4 weeks of the camp, we were doing a lot of like muscle building, so a lot of high reps stuff in S&C, and obviously eating. I was eating good. I was eating a lot of food as well, so it was kind of good to build that muscle in a camp. And I did feel in the ring that I felt stronger, and I feel like you can kind of see in my physique that I'm starting to fill out a wee bit, starting to turn into a man.
What for you? Because like Carl Froch, for example, he used to keep a journal. He used to keep notebooks, and literally every press up, every run, and every meter that he went in his training camp, he would kind of log. So very data driven about it.
Yeah.
But so he had his markers about sort of how his targets, etc., etc. What are the ways in which you kind of mark your own progress?
Sort of similar, but I don't mark my progress myself. So my S&C coach Grant he writes down everything. So any runs that we do, any cycling that we do. So we do like them 30 second sprints. He marks down in the 30 seconds. I think it's 7 seconds, 13 seconds, and then no, it can't be. Anyway, he marks down three separate speeds, like watts that what I've been hitting, and obviously then we try to just build on that every time. Same with like
So
my 400 meters and stuff like that, and 800 meters. He's marking down all the times, and then we'll just try to kind of stick to that and beat it. So we've always got a target for every session that we do, and I just
because
listen to him.
yeah, which is that sounds like the best way to do it. One thing I said on the pod last week actually, and it's something that Froch told me a few years ago, and that is that because you're always pushing yourself to get better, and generally you are always getting better, it always remains hard.
Yeah.
It never necessarily gets any easier. And I did ask Froch, was there ever any time in his career where he felt like Superman, just felt like I am fit, I feel good.
Yeah.
And he said only once before the Arthur Abraham fight. Otherwise, it's just hard. Is that how it feels for you?
Yeah, definitely. Like I can see myself going into fights sometimes, and I'm like, I don't even feel fit, but it's because you're doing all this stuff, but it's just getting harder and harder every time you do it. Your targets get
Yeah.
better and better, so you're just reaching for better every time, and you just feel as tired every time you do it. It never gets easy.
Yeah. Another sort of experience at the weekend or last time you were out is that you went on at the end after the main bill as well. What was that like? Because that's psychologically, emotionally, that's another sort of hurdle to clear. What was that like?
It's a bit frustrating, because obviously I know, no disrespect to anybody on that card, because they're all great boxers and stuff like that, but I know I've done a lot in the amateur game, and a lot more than most of the Scottish boxers on that show. But I'm not meaning that in a disrespectful way. I'm just saying, like, I know what I've done as an amateur. I've done a lot, so I feel like I should be getting these good slots. But it just put a hunger in my belly even more. I just wanted to go out and perform even better. So it probably done me a favour.
Yeah, well, and the interesting thing was there was a good crowd of your supporters who were obviously there to see you, so they
Yeah.
stayed behind. So, when I first saw it, I wasn't sure if it was before or after until I sort of double checked. But yeah, so that was good to see. How did that feel? What did you make of that?
Yeah, it's good. Obviously, all these people staying back to support. Like, there was people there that stayed back that weren't even buying tickets off of me as well. So obviously, people that are boxing fans and like know me and what I've done and stuff like that, they've all stayed behind. So it's a massive thank you to everybody that actually did stay behind and watch. Because it doesn't go unnoticed. There was a big
Yeah,
crowd there. It was noisy
yeah,
for being after.
yeah. It was good. It was really impressive. A couple of things I want to ask you: the mohawk haircut. I like it. I like it.
The
Talk me through that.
the mullet. Dev Sani loves it, didn't he? Dev Sani loves it.
So shaved sides, thicker on top. Whose
Yeah.
whose idea was that? And is that kind of is it part of getting ready for fight night?
Yeah, so I kind of like that haircut anyway. One of my sponsors, well, my barber, but he sponsors me as well, so he cuts my hair and stuff like that. I think one day we were just like, I used to get a taper, and we're like, try to change it up a bit, add a wee bit of something to it. So I ended up getting a bush fade, and it's ended up growing out to be more than a bush fade. It's a bit of a mullet now, but I think it looks good. It looks good. It gets people talking.
Who's your barber sponsor? Let's give him a shout out.
Huncho Barbers, so it's actually Dale Mehmet. He cuts my hair, and he's getting some friction for his haircut. Everybody loves it.
Fantastic. And your kit, I couldn't make out from the lights if it's purple or blue. The tartan,
It was purple. It was purple
purple.
tartan. Yeah.
Right. Is that going to be your thing going forward, or was that just for the night?
I got that for, obviously, I wanted to use tartan in Scotland. I went to get I tried to get a lunge tartan, so like the Lynch clan tartan, which was like a more of a blue, but the place that my who does my shorts boxing, the place that he checked for the obviously to get the material from, they didn't have it, and for it to be woven, it was going to be 12 weeks, and obviously I had 7 weeks, so I couldn't get it woven. So we had to pick a few. We were going to go for one that maybe looked like the lunch tartan, and then they sent me a purple tartan, and my favourite colour is purple, so I was like,
Okay.
that's the one. We're going to go for that. and then I
Oh,
added a
fantastic.
little thistle on the back of it just for obviously purple, and I thought that'd look good.
So do you think you're going to keep that, or are you going to try and get the Lynch one?
I don't know. I quite like. I like that one. I might wear these shorts again because I actually really like them. They're probably my favourite pair of shorts. But I do like the tartan as well. So I might sometimes might change it up. Might go different, and then I might bring the tartan back as well. Especially if it's in Scotland, the tartan will come back.
And all of that, that sort of getting your hair, getting the kit ready. That sort of it's part of the show, of course, but part of getting into fight mode, part of selling yourself.
Yeah.
What do you make of all of that sort of side of the business side of the sport?
Yeah, it's sort of just marketing in it. Like everybody kind of, especially obviously the big fighters and stuff like that, they're always getting new kits, getting ready and stuff like that before it. Like I always kind of, I'm quite bad for letting my hair grow out and like getting all rugged and that. And then as soon as I come to a fight, I get all fresh and clean. And you feel good. It's kind of like a feel good factor. And then you're getting your new kit as well. Like once your kit comes, you're all buzzing to see it. It's like it's a bit of excitement in it.
And the sort of fight week now and then fight night and mentality and nerves or whatever, butterflies. How is that compared to sort of last year? Obviously you've got so much amateur experience to call back on anyway, but
Yeah.
has that changed in any way this year compared to last?
Um, I'd say probably just the same. Like probably a bit more used to it. I know what to expect on like fight week and kind of like going into these arenas now because it's obviously a bit different from amateur and pro. Like you've got your own changing rooms and you've got like all this kind of different stuff. And not quite too. It's a bit different when you first come to it, but I'm starting to get used to it now. I'm enjoying it. It's good fun.
What's the tattoo on your lower right leg?
So that's from Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson. Um,
Is it?
Yeah, so I was going to do kind of like a film theme on my leg. I was going to get, well, I'm still going to get a full leg sleeve at one point, but I was going to go for like Pulp Fiction, Snatch, kind of like all them classic good films. Um, but I'm scared to go back in for the rest of it because it's so,
It's sore.
yeah, it's too sore.
Oh, we'll look out. We'll look out for that. Do you know the other thing that struck me? You've got to get onto Box Rec and get that photo changed, haven't you?
Oh no, I look about 12, don't I? That
You
must have
do.
been, I think that would have been in 2018, 2017, that photo was took. That was at the
Wow.
Golden Gloves in Serbia.
Wow.
So that's a
That
while
look
back.
that must look but also feel like a completely different person.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I used to be handsome back then. I don't know what happened to me. Too much punches.
Baby faced. What was
That's
that?
it.
What happened in that tournament?
So I won that tournament. That was a really good tournament, to be fair. I won. I'm not too sure if that was the first year or the second year, but I won it 2 years in a row. So it was a youth tournament, and you can only box in it twice. As you go from youth to senior, and I won it twice. So I got the double champ.
Beautiful, beautiful. And obviously sort of the other weekend when you're waiting to fight, you're waiting to fight. How much can you did you sort of arrive late, so didn't manage to catch any of the earlier stuff? How did you sort of time your evening?
Yeah. So obviously Marcus was on. He's my club mate. He was on obviously just before the main event. But I was in the house and I had been up quite a bit all day. I still had a few tickets to drop off, so I was up quite pretty early. So I dropped off a few tickets and went back and had a nap. And just with obviously how late I was going to be on, I didn't obviously go through for Marcus's fight. I just watched it on the phone, just because I knew that if I got in there, it kind of once you get in the venue, you start to get a bit more like it's kind of draining. It kind of drains you. You get a bit tired, especially if you're sitting about there the whole time. So I kind of wanted to obviously stay out as long as possible and then jump in kind of close to my fight. So I probably got in there. I think it was just after the Dylan Arbuckle fight. Um, so it was kind of just before Aston Brown and stuff like that went on.
Okay, and that how does that feel in terms of the right way to approach it, or something you can learn from going forward? How did it feel?
I think that's the way to do it. I think if obviously you kind of need to think about yourself, especially before you fight. You're the one that needs to go in there and perform. So I think that is the way to do it. Kind of just get there as not as late as possible, but time it right. Like, you don't want to be hanging about all day, especially if you're on after the main event, because you've still got. I mean, I was told to be ready for 10 on the night, and I didn't box till about, must have been closer to quarter past 11. Well, I don't actually know. I can't remember what time it was, but it must have been closer to quarter to 11 or something like that. So I was still waiting for about 45 minutes to an hour after I was told to be ready.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that,
it's
that
a lot of
that's
waiting.
yeah, exactly. It's a lot to deal with, isn't it? I suppose there's no right or wrong. It's just what works for you. You know, you've seen same with in dressing rooms. You know, Hatton might have had the music pumping and
Yeah,
the Gallagher brothers coming in to say hello and people buzzing around all over the place. Naz's dressing room seemed like carnage most of the time, didn't it? So I suppose you just don't know. You just got to learn what works for you.
yeah, just what's best for you and how you enjoy it. Obviously, we have I like the bounce the dressing room to be a wee bit bouncing, a wee bit of laughter, a wee bit of music and stuff like that.
Yeah. How much how much at the moment are you sort of starting to take control of, or how much are you still very much led by your brother and trusting the people around you?
Probably quite a lot just by the people around me. I'm pretty laid back, pretty easy going, so I'll just do what I'm told really. Whatever they say suits me. I'm happy with that. But
Yeah, fair
obviously,
enough.
like in the changing rooms and stuff like that, I've only really got one rule, and it's just as long as there's music and a good vibe in the changing rooms, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, quite right. Happy Fighter's is a good fighter. What are you being told? David, your manager, he's liaising with sort of Lee Eaton and Queensbury in terms of what the future holds. You've already been out in February, you've been out in April as well. What are you being told? What are you hoping? Because it's been a good sort of relatively busy start to the new year.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get out, kind of back out. Hopefully June, July. I've not actually been told too much when I'll be out yet. I know David's meant to be speaking to Queensbury this week. So hopefully get me back out June, July, but hopefully start pushing for titles towards the end of the year. Some sort of title anyway. I feel like I'm ready and good enough for that. I don't want to be obviously fine journeyman too long.
Sure. So you mean, and also we talked about sort of pay and contracts and stuff like that. You know, you're at a certain level for a certain amount of money for certain rounds.
Yeah,
In a way, the sooner you start going up to 8 and 10 rounds, the better. Because
yeah.
partly because of experience, but partly because it's more money as well.
So
So
yeah.
so, what's that looking like?
So I've got obviously one more fight for my 5 fights a year contract. So obviously that's from May last year, but I think it'll maybe obviously get pushed on a little bit to like June, July. I'm not too sure how that works. Um, but then after that, obviously my money goes up a touch, and I start doing. I think towards the end of my second year, it was meant to be starting to do 8 rounders, but I wouldn't mind starting them early. To be honest, I wouldn't mind
Sure.
getting them, trying them a bit earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good experience. You're probably ready. So what you were, I think you were, what are you on at the moment? It's about 1,500 a round, isn't it? I think you
Yeah,
said before. So that goes up a little bit soon after the next fight.
yeah. I'm sure it goes up to 18 and a half or something like that. So
Lovely,
a little extra.
lovely. Yeah, lovely, lovely. It all helps. And are you? Uh, who's helping you in terms of your finances and, in a way, looking to the future and doing everything right? Who's helping you with that?
So obviously my manager helps me with, a bit with it, and like my brother and stuff like that. But obviously I need to. I know a few people. One of my sponsors, Johnny Ward, as well. He's a very successful businessman, and I'm going to speak to him about stuff like that because he's been there and done it. He's had a very successful business and sold it on. Um, so he's kind of. I think he's actually looking to get into that aspect of stuff like helping people as well now. So I'm going to do a bit with him also.
Fantastic, fantastic. So hopefully out in the next few months. I mean, the good news, I think it's the offshoot of the Saudis sort of maybe looking elsewhere means that people like Frank and Eddie are having to tend to
Push
business
the bit
closer
on
to
here.
home. So that as you're probably aware of that, then hopefully that's going to be good news for fighters like you. There's going to be more UK based shows now than there have been in the last few years.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, that'd be brilliant as well, because it's not just me; it's everyone else that needs to get these shots. Queensbury's got a big stable now too, so all these people need to be getting out.
Yeah, absolutely right. So hopefully 8 to 10 rounders and a kind of area title, something like that, just round the corner.
Yep, something like that. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind a Scottish Celtic title, anything like that. To be honest, I'd be happy to fight for that in my next fight. So, kind of just need to push for it and hopefully get something sorted.
And are you interested in the kind of traditional route of sort of British, Commonwealth, British, European, then world, or are your team, David and Queensbury, are they interested in the kind of those fringe sanctioning body titles, whether it's the WB or European or international, whatever, which get you ranking points and move you through the system? How do you feel about sort of the landscape and what you'd like to do?
I'm happy. I'm happy with either, as long as I keep getting pushed on. I'd like to win a British title. To be fair, um, obviously British title is a nice belt. Um, and then obviously like that European and stuff like that. It's kind of good to kind of push yourself up that way, because you start getting the rankings, and they're all nice belts. They're all really nice belts as well. So you kind of want them all, don't you?
Give me the lots. Give me the lot. Listen, pal, lovely to catch up. It's been a little too long, but good to check in with you again, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, Alex. It was good to start chat.